and do it for yourself. Don't do it because other people are doing it. That's where you go wrong immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
you were born by yourself, you're gonna die by yourself. No matter what somebody says, it's not gonna change the way your life moves unless you let that affect you. So be careful with the choices and decisions that you make these days, because as long as the minute you let somebody influence your the way you go about doing certain things, you have to live with it. They don't.
yeah.
You have to deal with the repercussion of every single thing that you do. So be careful on the choices that you make.
Look, hell of an intro. I tell you what you info, but I never really been the type of dude to give no info. But if you see your ends low and you trying to get a benzo, I'll give your ass some game that'll change the way that you think, bro. Super skilled with the pencil, super ill in my mental. I reminisce on life, I'm nice, here's my memento. Get it through your tempo, I get on any tempo and give it all I got. I'm hot, I got like 10 flows, trying to live on the 10th floor. Across from residentials that I own, my mind stayed grown. I used to think clothes, I really used to think hoes and what I do to get those. And then I switched it up, I'm only thinking potential.
Come on, it's just letting you know when to get started. They say lights, camera, action. That's exactly what that is.
I don't care.
It traumatized you that much?
Yeah.
To the point where
it's a lot of noise that's unnecessary. But anyway, welcome to another episode of the Walk and Grow podcast.
Yeah. That's what we do.
It feels like, it's been...
What, episode 13? Yeah.
I have no idea.
I think it's 13 if I'm not mistaken.
At this point, I just go to the app and see whatever comes up.
Would you say now you have implemented the podcast fully into your schedule?
Yeah.
Or your habits?
Yeah, I think it's fully embedded into my life now. Because if it's something that you have to constantly plan on, yeah.
Yeah. I could say the same. It's one of those things where now you got to think about it. Like, oh, man.
No, not even, oh, man. I think it's...
Well, not all man in a bad way. It's just reminders kind of thing, especially if you get caught up in something else. And then you remind yourself like, oh, I still got to get that done. So now it's just navigating through that.
Yeah, and that takes time, It's not something that you get to, let's say, master overnight.
Yeah. How many hours again? 10,000?
You said what?
10,000 hours to mastery. We got what?
I feel like that number changes constantly, depending on who you has done the research, the number seems to change.
Why would it change, though?
I have no idea. But I know it
changes. Are you saying it's changing to be greater or less?
I don't know. I don't know, bro.
You just know the number changes.
That I've spoken to multiple people and that number is never the same.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I forgot who said it, but
keeping track of it. I mean, I should probably look it up and know.
I'm pretty sure it's 10,000. You can Google it if you want. I'm sure there's probably multiple numbers everywhere. But I forgot who claimed it or said it at least.
I think there was one that says it takes 20 hours to make something a habit.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about habits. I'm talking about mastery.
Mastering something.
Yeah.
You said 1,000?
10,000.
I think it's 1,000.
1,000?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's not
That's
a
just
lot.
a wild guess. I'm not sure. But anyway, that does not matter to me at this time.
1,000?
Yeah.
Where you get that number from?
I have no idea.
You just said...
it was a shot in the dark.
$1,000, don't get me wrong, it's a lot. But how often is it? Oh well. I guess everyone does it at their own pace.
True.
Along the entire journey, though, let's just talk about that. Let's talk about the 10,000 hours of mastery.
Yeah.
Along that entire journey,
Mm-hmm.
you're faced with something at hand. Even though you want to master something,
Mm-hmm.
how is it that you keep going to mastering it?
So, are you talking about...
I'm not talking about anything specific, just whatever you're trying to master, I guess.
Wait, are you asking me what I want to master? Like,
No,
okay,
no.
so you're saying on the journey to mastering something.
Yeah, towards
how
mastery.
do you keep going?
Yeah, how do you keep going?
Despite all the things that comes your way, all the obstacles, all the challenges, basically everything. Is
Yeah,
that what you're referring
exactly.
to? So, there's, let's call them guide or facts that you need to know that will allow you to navigate, that journey. And that's really, it all start with having a purpose though. Because if you don't know what you're going after, it's easy for you to give up halfway through whatever you're trying to achieve. So it's important to first know exactly what you're striving for, what you're going after, because now it kind of plant that seed, in your brain that, hey, I'm going out. Think about it just like in sports. It's the team, that really has all the desire to really win a championship, that are on their P's and Q's defensively, offensively.
Yeah.
They're really, you see it even with their body language when, they're on the field or on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Tennis players, same thing, golf, same thing. You can see the energy of the player. It tells you that, this person really wanted this bad because they know what they're going after. They know the ultimate, picture. So having that in mind kind of gives you that strength to keep going. That's just, how I see it. Because if you don't have that in mind, what are you going after?
Yeah.
You can easily get halfway and, something get challenging, A lot of people, give up after trying something once, right?
Or I would say once, a few times.
No, I mean, or when you get faced, it happens, even in myself. There are cases
it happened
where
to me yesterday.
Yeah, there are cases where, you go after something, you're like, it wasn't meant to be,
Peace.
Exactly. But that's, that's technically giving up on it, right? So at what point do you determine I give up or do I keep going? At what point do you want to persist and go through that wall, to make it to the end? And that's when you have a purpose. So
gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. Like the foundation of being able to keep going through obstacles is knowing what your purpose is.
But I mean, your purpose can also change though. So then how does that kind of correlate to it? Because
so here's the thing. If your purpose changed, that means your desire to go after that purpose is not strong enough.
Okay.
But so you have to work on really identifying, okay, I have this purpose, but do I have a burning desire to actually do it, or do I just want to do it? Do I consider it an A or a B or a C goal? So when I talk about A and B, C goals, A goals is something that you already know how to do, right? You've done it in the past multiple times. You just, have to, keep doing it. B goals is something that you have done. You have to acquire either a skill or talk to somebody, who knows how to do it to get it done. So you have, partner up with somebody. That's the B goal. The C goal is something that you want to get done, but you have completely no idea how to do it. So at that point, by having a strong burning desire, you determine, okay, this is something I really want to do. What type of goal is it? Is it an A goal, a B goal, a C goal? Okay. So then with that purpose, now you have identified, okay, this is a burning purpose that, that I want to follow. My desire is in there. Like I will literally throw my life on the line to get this done. Nothing is going to stop you at that point.
That's fair.
Because you've done your due diligence and identified that, hey, this is actually something that I want to, pursue for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. It takes work. Self-reliance, again, that's another thing that you have to look at and be like, hey, I trust myself enough to go after this, despite all the criticism, despite, all the noise, because you're going to hear a lot about that.
Oh, yeah.
You're
going to see it. You're going to experience it. You're going to hear it from not only like your mind, your friends. It comes from everywhere on different angles, and you never will see it coming. And it's just a matter of, what do you do in that situation? Yeah. And I kind of like to sum it down to one thing, right? How obsessed are you with it? Mm-hmm. If you're truly indeed obsessed with whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever your purpose is, it's hard for anything to come and distract you.
That's that's basically what I call it, that having that burning desire. It's like nothing can stop you. I want to get this done.
Just have the blinders on, man.
Yeah.
Like, I kid you not. Even when I do ab workouts, you know how sometimes people put their hands on their head to kind of, it's literally that exact thing that's going on. You put your hand on your head and all you can see is your hands. Yeah. Same concept. All you can see is a head. Yeah. Just focus on what's ahead. And I mean, hey, it's easier said than done. I get it. I understand it. I go through it just as much as whoever is listening to this right now. Trust me. I just bounce back. That's the key thing. It's even if I find myself getting off the track really, like for a day or a week or whatever the case may be, it's how you get back on. We're all humans. You know, we're not always going to be on that track every single day, every single hour, every single second. No, it's things happen, things come up, things can kind of disrupt everybody's life at some point in time. But it's ultimately how do we get back? I think even if you do get distracted, something does come in your way, there's an obstacle that you're faced with and you don't know how to get around it, through it. So you find yourself doing something else to avoid it. That's procrastination at its finest. And we all do that as well. But that's why I think it's the key point of procrastination, at least, it's just getting it done earlier and sooner. That's the key thing I found with procrastination. The quicker you can get it done, the quicker it's out of your head. And now you no longer have to deal with it. Just yesterday, I'm working on this new project now for real estate. And I was like, man, there's just so many pieces that I have to identify and figure out. And I'm just like, I don't really want to do this right now. I have all the tools in front of me to, hey, go and do it. It's just now doing the work. I've did the studying, I did the research. It's just now, all right, hone in down on actually implementing it. That's really where it came down to, is implementing. And I just realized, I was like, you know what, I have no choice but to do this. So why not just do it now? It still took me longer, but eventually it still got done because, you know, the amount of work that had to go into actually studying it, studying the material, studying the market, and understanding what's really going on, and finding that key thing that I was looking for. You know, it took some time, but it got done. And why did it get done? I knew I had no choice but to do it. Right. Who was going to do it for me?
And you were going after something. Hey, I have to accomplish this to get to the next level.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's part of it. It's the same thing, man. Even in school, we went through it. You know, the classes that you really didn't like, you never really did well because
you didn't pay attention.
You didn't pay attention. You didn't really care about the topic that much to, put in that effort. But the ones that you were passionate about and you were like, oh, this is like, for me, it was linear algebra, right? Linear algebra I was in the books, everything. I was going to every hour, just conversation with the professor because I was passionate about that topic. I don't know why. No idea to this day, but it was just so fascinating to me.
And what year was that for you?
That was my sophomore year.
It was my last year. My last semester too, which is heartbreaking to me because it's like, man, it took me this long to get passionate about something. And that was actually economics class, which was talking about international trade. So it helped me understand like how the world money moves and the world, how it works on, just different continents and stuff like that. It took my last class, literally, not my last class, but my last semester. And I think it was typically my last class of my Tuesdays and Thursdays, literally. I remember it because the professor was dope as well. But I think the professor made it really simple, and I think that's what allowed me to understand and like it a lot more, is because of his teaching style, which is crucial. I mean, if you don't have teachers that don't teach the way you learn, oh my gosh, it's a headache.
Yeah, that's true. How did you feel about the 3-hour classes? Did you have a lot of 3-hour classes, late afternoon, late night classes?
I try not to ever schedule those into my. Gotcha. I try to stay away from those as much as possible, but I think I had a few 3 hours, just because it was other conflicts in my schedule, just so I could, hey, if I do these 2 days out the week, at least now I know I don't have to see this class again. That was always my mindset kind of going into it. I had a few though, but I would say the one that I'm speaking about right now, the economics class, that was probably my favorite 3-hour course. Like I was ready to go in there and actually tackle the information and actually paying attention. For the most part, I would say. Did you have a lot of them?
I feel like at least every other semester I had one of those. Yeah.
I try to keep those because it was only twice a week. I've always tried to jam pack everything Monday to Thursday so I can have that Friday, Saturday, Sunday freedom of just doing whatever it is that I wanted to do. Most likely it was going to party, but you know, lifestyle.
Yeah.
But here we are today, right?
Yeah.
Despite I look at that as part of that obstacle, I could say.
What was the obstacle?
School. Just
you think school was an obstacle?
Oh yeah.
School was an obstacle.
I did not want to be there.
School was an obstacle.
I did not want to be there.
Wow.
I was there because it's one of those things where, you know, if you accomplish it, family's like, oh, congratulations. Woo,
yeah, you told me you did it for Mom.
Yeah, right. It's one of those things. Yeah. If it was up to me, man, I would have chucked the deuces up after my first year, immediately.
What would you have done instead? Like, would you have had like a mixtape out or something?
Mixtape, no.
That's
I don't know.
What would have been your passion?
I don't think that's the thing though. I didn't figure it out then.
Yeah, that's why you were wishy-washy with everything, dabbling in everything pretty much.
Would you say you were? I wasn't really dabbling in anything. I just didn't have focus. I just wasn't focused on, you know, that one thing. But school was a way for me to get focused, but school didn't give me the focus that I was even looking for. Yeah. You know what gave me the focus? Traveling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Traveling truly indeed gave me the focus. It's weird though. It's crazy to say that. Traveling gave me the focus that I needed to get through that obstacle, because once I started to travel, that's when everything started to click. I was like, all right, I have to get a little bit more serious about what's going on right now.
Start getting the taste of what life is all about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing.
Money spent on travel is money well spent.
Yeah. Especially
it's money that you know, it's an experience that you're not going to get in books. You're not going to get that in the classroom. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get that anywhere in school. Money spent on travel is money well spent. So I strongly encourage you to, you know, travel if you can. Mm-hmm. Even if it's by yourself, do it. You know, I've done a lot of trips by myself. It's fun. You learn a lot, you know, but just plan it accordingly. Have a plan. I would say write down like some of the things that you want to do when you get there, and, you know, plan accordingly, because that will allow you to enjoy it even more. But money spent on travel is money well spent. You're
probably thinking now, like, how does all of this even correlate to staying persistent, getting over the obstacles? It's because you're creating a vision at the end of the day. I mean, that's really where it comes down to. It's being able to create that vision and have that vision stay with you. One thing I won't forget is all my trips. I remember probably everything that was done on those trips, and there's several. It's not just one. Been traveling since I turned 21, really. Ever since then, it was just boom. Where to next? Oh, let's do this. Let's do that. Yeah. But say all this to say is it's giving you that vision. It's giving you the understanding of what's possible.
And I'm gonna tell you something else in that element of traveling that kind of align with the persistent aspect. Having someone that will hold you accountable. So having, whether it's a group of individual or just one person that will hold you accountable, is very important. You know, that's why I like, you know, the fact that we have this podcast, me and you, because we hold each other accountable to a high standard. So by that I mean, you know, when you travel, it allows you to find people, you know, that you can potentially partner up with. Yeah. People that can hold you accountable in a certain area. You know, it allows you to network with people and see, you know, certain, you know, categories that you may not have even heard or thought about in, you know, in the things that you're working on. So partnership, you know, being in, you know, in understanding relationship on how you're building them is important.
I like that, the fact that you said accountability partners, because I have a mixed taste with accountability.
What?
My mixed taste with accountability partners is understand who it is first, because I've seen it myself. I've seen it in others. It's you try to hold each other accountable, and a month or two later, no one's holding each other accountable. It's like it starts, but it doesn't finish.
But that's where I said, you know, pay attention to how I started the conversation. If you don't have a purpose.
No. But that's the thing.
It plays a big factor, because
no, it does not. Because if you're looking for accountability partner, the partner, you're hoping that the partner can keep you on your P's and Q's at all times.
No, your accountability partner.
What's the point of
is
accountability
someone
partner?
that aligns with your values and principles and is heading towards the same mission as you somewhat.
Right.
That's an accountability partner that you can count on because you're somewhat are in alignment.
Right.
But if you're just going based off of what am I going to get out of it, you're kind of...
No, I'm not looking at it that way. I'm just looking at it in terms of the person that, hey, if you're going to have someone and be your accountability partner, have it actually be someone that not even someone that you can actually, 1, look up to, 2, actually learn from, 3, actually see like, oh man, this person is doing this. Because if you have accountability partner, in my eyes, is if you're going to hold anybody accountable, or if you're going to try to tell somebody to be accountable for something, you better be doing the damn thing yourself.
Yeah. I mean,
it's how you're going to...
The ship is only as good as its captain is. So
right. That's why I say it's important because, you have a group of people, you guys holding each other all accountable, but one person stops doing it. And then the next person just drops. And it's a domino effect. And then maybe it's one person that's still doing whatever it is that they're doing, but everybody else isn't doing it. What do you think that motivation to that person is going to be doing? It's going to dwindle.
True.
Slowly. It may not dwindle completely, but it may slowly. And now this person is back to ground zero, back doing it by himself. He or she. I shouldn't say him because it could be really anybody.
Yeah.
But you're just back. That's why that accountability partner is very crucial. It's don't hold it lightly. Put a lot of emphasis on it, and to find that person that that it's their work ethic is comparable to yours, I guess. And I think that's at least what I look for. If I'm looking for any accountability partner, 1, I better see you do it. I just don't want you to tell me what to do. I got to see you put the work in as well, because now I know, okay, you're in the field just like me. Gotcha. If you're in the field just with me, then cool, we can run it. But if you're not in the field, I'm going to look at you and say, no. Yeah. I have a hard time with people telling me things to do, so I think that's one of my biggest problems.
Yeah, I understand. To me, it's simple. Principles and values. If we share the same values, the same principles, I don't see why we can't, get along.
People change, man. People,
I'm not no. If you have principles and values, I don't care how you change. Those are usually set to the way. Think of it as discipline. That discipline, even when, let's say, if you were in the military or anywhere like where you kind of got that discipline planted in your mind, you carry that even beyond that place itself, right? Because it's a lifestyle. That's the same thing with your values and principles. It should be your lifestyle. It's something that you live and breathe pretty much. So if you have that, I don't care how the actions that you take, how you go about making certain moves, as long as the values and principles are aligned, we're good. We're good because that's really the foundation. That's really the core of it all. If you think about it, everything kind of grows from there.
You would hope.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For certain. Yeah. I can't really talk much on it, but I understand what you're saying.
You did mention something earlier about just when do you know how to stop, or when do you know when to stop. If someone like me is always looking to improve, always thinking about, hey, how could I make this better, or make whatever it is better, and I'm faced with an obstacle now, and I just don't know, hey, if this is even something I should continue to do. Like, how do you determine? And I don't want you to look at the purpose. I don't want you to look at the goal, the dream, why you're obsessed with it. Just take all that out of it. And how do you separate? Like, how do you still determine, like, all right, let me still continue to fight through this, or maybe this is not it. I have a rule. I'll share it with you after. But I have a rule as far as how I'm able to face an obstacle and just be like, yeah, nah, get out of here. I'm kind of want to see where your head is at with it.
I think making the assessment of the amount of time it's going to take you. I usually use time as a big factor because time is important. We don't have a lot of it. Tomorrow's not promised. In fact, the minute I get in my car, it's not promised.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at it in the sense that, okay, how much time do I have to dedicate at this thing? And now, is the return on investment of my time worth the effort? So when you're able to make that assessment, I think you determine at that point, okay, can I strike or not?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I like that. Mine is I have a 3 rule, and you probably have heard it before. It's I give something to try 3 times. If I don't succeed, I gotta now analyze. All right, was there improvement? If there was improvement each time, I'll keep going. But if I kind of went backwards, at that point, it's no longer an obstacle. This is not it. Why am I going backwards? I should be going forward instead. Yeah, it could be something that's like, hey, kind of testing me to see if this is something that you truly indeed want to do. But 3 tries and you didn't make improvement, in my eyes, I'm looking at it at myself at least, you're losing hope. There should be no reason why you're going backwards rather than forward. So if I'm faced with obstacles, a decision like that is, all right, you gave it 3 tries. Each time you made improvement. All right, let's see. Give it another 3, right? And every time there's improvement, I give it 3. It's not like I'm looking at each and every single test or trial. It's our first one, cool. Second one, did we make improvement? No, we didn't. Okay. Third one, did we make improvement? No, we didn't. Okay. Last one, did we make improvement? No. All right, get out of here. But if, like, let's say first one improvement, second one no improvement, third one improvement, it starts all over again.
Now, are you, in that case, which I think it's important to know here, are you analyzing after each failure, are you analyzing what didn't work?
Oh, absolutely.
And then taking action, or just analyzing and then hoping that the same initial plan that you had will work?
I analyze and I switch up what was I doing before that obviously didn't work. I think a prime example is my real estate exam. I went through this exact obstacle, taking it. I've took way more than 3. I'll tell you that right now to get through that exam in itself.
Gotcha.
Because there's a state side and then there's a national side, right? One side is easier than the other, and the words are tricky, whatever. Everyone could get through it. You just got to put the time and the work and the effort to truly indeed get through it. But every time I didn't do well, I switched how I was studying, and I took some things that, hey, okay, if there was a certain chapter or whatever that I know I did really well in, I would still focus on it, but I wouldn't focus on it as much. I would focus on where I lacked in most, which makes common sense. Obviously, wherever you lacked in most, just put a little more time into it. But I switched entirely the study habits. I had to, because clearly how I was studying before, it wasn't working if I couldn't get through the exam.
Yeah. I used that same approach when I was in college, and I wish I didn't, because what would have been beneficial for me now that I look at it would have been for me to focus on what I was good at in terms of like what, content. It could be a subject, what subject I was good at, and then surround myself with people that were good at other things that may be beneficial to me. That saves me the hard work of having learning everything and being kind of jack of all trade type of person. No, because by maximizing my time and energy on one specific, whether it's field, task, subject, whatever, it would have allowed me to do better at that specific thing, and then help others with that one thing, and then they can help me with other stuff. So it's like kind of partnership in a way where we complement each other, weaknesses. And
it's not just a study group just to go ahead and kick it back and yo, what we doing tonight?
Did you have, would you say that in terms of the obstacles and challenges that you faced, whether it was in high school or in college, if you were to go through them again, you would approach them the same way you did now that you have somewhat of, more knowledge or more wisdom to?
No. I mean, yes, I would definitely approach them differently. Just and I wouldn't necessarily approach the subjects any differently. I would think I would approach the way my relationship were with people, because I think if I was a little bit more intentional with certain relationships, a lot more could have came out of those relationships, for the better, for the good, whatever. For the better, for the good, for the good or bad. I think if that would probably be the only thing I would do differently in terms of any obstacle that I was faced with. It's just understand that, all right, if there was a relationship there, hey, how do you nurture it to the point where you can essentially get what not exactly what you need, but milk as much as possible to make it easier on yourself. But that would be my biggest thing. I mean, obstacles are going to be there. Right. I'm not going to run from it. I'm just going to look at it and identify, all right, how can I make it a little bit better or easier on my end? And I think, just like you said, surrounding yourself around with great people, I think those relationships, because I've always been the type where if I'm faced with an obstacle, I 100% figure it out myself. Yeah. It's just that time that now goes into figuring it out. Yeah. That's the big question mark that I personally don't want to go through every single time. Yeah. So it's like you kind of said, just leveraging other people. I think that's the only big thing I would change, and having more study groups as well. Especially when you're in a situation, allowing somebody else to know you're in that situation. That's another big one. Being vulnerable, like, hey, yo, I need help.
Yeah, that's key. Yeah, but nowadays I don't see a lot of people talk about, or just bring the awareness that needs to be brought to a topic like this one, in terms of like having a core group of people with whom you can bounce ideas.
Everybody wants to be competitors, essentially, with everyone else.
I think I see a lot of individual trying to get it done by themselves. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is I and entirely behind you. I want you to to be successful, but it doesn't hurt to work with other people. Mm-mm. It does not.
It doesn't.
If anything, it comes with a lot more benefits than downfalls.
Yeah, I think we talked about this on a previous episode where we talked about leverage and just finding the person that's going to help you. Right. That's truly indeed it. I mean, if you want to do it by yourself, hey, good luck, have fun. Let me know how it goes, and then I'll be more than happy to hear your story.
I really like the aspect of partnering. For me, having other people involved really helps you be on your P's and Q's. Think of it this is a simple example that I think I mentioned this before. When you go to the gym, right? When you have to go to the gym and it's only you, right? You may or may not go, right? Mm-hmm. You have a choice. But when you have to meet someone at the gym,
oh yeah, you're going.
You're going.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with anything. When you have to work on a project, you're gonna work on a project on that day because so and so wants to work on it that day as well. So it's like they hold you accountable. That's the aspect to me that really helps, because when you're navigating through life, you want to be able to have people around you with whom you can bounce ideas left and right, to be able to go through those walls, be persistent and fight through those walls.
You think partnerships still allow you to do that, though? Like if you're a joint venture into something?
Yes. But that's where I said the values and principles are important, because now you have money in play.
Right. Because
you have financial in place, which could make or break a relationship. So that's why it's important not just to know your partners, but to understand their values and principles, because you've heard countless of stories of people being taken advantage of. I know myself of a case that was recently presented to me where somebody only paid maybe 0.08% of the partnership funds. Yeah, and now he reaps the benefit as if he had contribute 40 to 50% of the funds. I'm not going to get into the numbers because they're pretty high, but hearing that story and talking to the individual was kind of like, when he told me that, I'm like, why are you still with him? Can I buy him out and actually put more down?
That's an obstacle right there, though.
Yeah, it is.
Right? And it all depends on, like you said, whoever this person is that's going through this, and I hope you're listening to this right now, because man, oh man, oh man, you could really make it through it. It's just a matter of how bad do you want to make it through it, you know?
Willpower. You gotta have the willpower to. You have to cultivate the state of mind of willpower, because if you don't continuously think about the things that you want to accomplish, you will never get them done. That's the same concept with prayer. It gives you that habit of willpower. You're constantly, manifesting these things into your life through prayers, right? For those who pray, you're constantly thinking about it, which is creating, a strong willpower for you to have that. And by doing so, it gives you the necessary ideas and energy to go after those things. So, yeah, continue.
Yeah,
I don't want to take your shine, but
no.
Yeah.
This is our shine, man. It's not just me. But no, I think the obstacle, in a sense, it also, it's a good thing. And the only reason why I say it's a good thing, because it gives us those tests, and those what else can I say? I don't want to say failures, because I don't really, if you make it through, an obstacle can't really be a failure, especially if you made it through. But I'll say, just for simple sakes of just speaking here, test. Obstacles being tests, we all need them, because if those obstacles were never there and everything was just like easy,
it's like, how they say if you give yourself 30 days to do something, you're gonna do on the last day. But if you say, if you give yourself 7 days to do something, you're gonna get it done on the 7th day. Same thing with
interesting.
Homework. When do you used to do your homework? The last day at midnight. This is due tomorrow.
Oh, man.
It could be even a couple hours before.
What about the people that do it earlier, though?
Those are people that have organized plans. That's another thing that was, part of on my list in terms of fighting through obstacles. You have to have organized plans. You have to have your, have an agenda of how you're going to go about doing things. And usually people who are successful are, accomplishing tasks like that, doing homework early. It's because they're following a plan, schedule, a set schedule. Yeah, that's important. That is important. And that's something that I've found over the years that has been beneficial to me, writing things down. Okay, I know today I have, and to me, I actually get it done before 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Because it allows me to then have the freedom to, if I want to modify the plan for the day, I get to do it after 11. If I want to, cut short on certain things, I kind of, I know where I stand at 11.
You have that ability to be flexible.
But the most important things are already done. So, for example, for tomorrow, I'll write it down tonight. Okay, what are things that I need to get done before 11 a.m.? So by doing so, now, you basically, I think, to me, I view it as, once you write it down, to me, it's as if it's already done.
Yeah.
And then it's just now, in emotion. But yeah, those are things that have been beneficial to me personally when it comes to fighting through obstacles. In the past, it was just like you wake up, you're like, all right, what we doing now? You try to figure out what you're gonna wear, what you're gonna do, like the day of. But having a set plan and organize it, I find it to be very, very helpful.
And just writing it down. It's simple. It's not a hard task. You don't have to write down everything. I think I actually just write down 5 things. And if I don't have 5, then that's just it. But I only cap it out at 5. And those 5 are things that I have to do. No choice. It's just things that I need to do. And like you said, those things get done for you at least, it gets done before 11. I make mine before 12.
Yeah.
Everything on that list has to be done before 12, because typically by 12, I'm out and about. I'm doing other things. I can no longer be in a position where most of the time those things they have to be done in front of a computer. So I literally give myself to 12 and all right, you have to get it done, because you no longer can sit in front of your computer. You have to go out and go do whatever you got to go do.
Yeah.
But no, I can't agree anymore with the plan of just having like things that you have to do.
Right.
And getting it done as early as possible. That would be my biggest key point is the earlier you get it done, the more you get to freelance the rest of your day.
Yeah.
And the rest of your day could look at, depending on obviously when you finish it, but for myself, it's 12 until I go to sleep.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And also it's good to be in that position, because now you have more time to yourself as well.
More time to do the things that you want to do, or more time to have fun. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have that time now, because once that minute goes by, that's it. It's looking already to the next minute.
Yeah. So I'm gonna add a couple more of things that have helped me with fighting through obstacles. But I wanted to kind of sum it up so far of what we got.
Okay.
We talked about purpose. You gotta have a purpose if you're gonna fight through those battles. You gotta know what you're going after, a dream, a goal. You gotta have a desire to really go after it.
Be obsessed.
Burning desire. You gotta be obsessed about it, and you gotta be self-reliant.
Mm-hmm.
Trust in yourself. Know that you're gonna get it. You can get it done. Despite any noise. Block the noise and just continue to push through. When you fail, you get up. You fail, you get up. The minute you stop doing it is the minute you lose. You're considered a quitter. And have organized plans. We talked about that. So you got to make sure that your plan are set in stone. That way what step you can take. Even with finance, even with money, you got to know, okay, when I get this money, what am I going to do with it?
I love that. I love the fact that you just said that.
What am I going to do with it? Because if you just wait for it to come and then determine what you're going to do with it,
that's it. You lost.
Yeah, that's why one of my very first questions, to ask somebody is, okay, so how much money do you want?
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, how much money do you want? Because now I know whether or not you've really put in the thought to know exactly what you're going to do with that money once you have it.
Right.
That's why I like to ask that question a lot.
Yeah. It's important. I mean, money's, and this is, I think I've mentioned this to you offline, but money is meant to be moved. Money is not supposed to stay still.
Yeah. Nope.
It's not. And you're probably thinking like, huh?
It has no value. It has no value if you save it. If you sit on it, it has absolutely no value.
Now, I'm not saying move it in a way where, hey, let's go out and go shebang and go party every other. Just have a plan for the money so that what's to come. What to do. How to do it. It's hard for, and I look at this and say, how is it that I even said this to myself, like, how did I end up in a place where I started spending more than I was receiving? Like my income, like how did my expenses go larger than my income? There was no plan. It was just, hey, we got it, let's spend it. Hey, we got it, let's spend it. It's just,
And I'm gonna add something. Go ahead. Are you?
Yeah,
I'm gonna add something else to that. So despite the fact, yes, there was no plan. The other thing that also plays a factor is the knowledge.
Yeah.
You did not have the knowledge that you have now back then. So
Definitely.
That's another thing. As you're going through obstacles, if you're like, hey, I'm stuck here, it's probably because you don't have the knowledge or you need to refine your plan.
Mm-hmm.
And in that situation, you either go find the person who has the knowledge that can help you, or specialize yourself in acquiring that knowledge one way or another, right? But I wanted to add it as you were talking about that. I was like, I think the knowledge plays a big factor.
Yeah.
Yes, you didn't have, you didn't really have it that at the time, but organized plan, but the knowledge is important as well.
And if you don't even, again, like you said, either find the person or just get the expertise to learn whatever it is you have to learn. Don't forget, we have an Instagram page, Walk and Grow. Go DM us. There's a possibility we already know that person that you're looking for.
I'm somewhat disappointed in the participation.
Are you?
Just because, I was expecting to, have an engagement.
You put expectations.
That's
where you went wrong.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I used the word disappointment. But you kind of, reevaluate things, and I think over time people are gonna get comfortable and start, participating and asking questions. I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. It's just getting people out the comfort zone. I think that's kind of what it is.
Because I would love to be able to answer the question that comes to mind when you're listening to our episodes. I think it's not just going to help us or yourself. It's going to help anybody else who may have thought of the same question. So participation is actually important. I was one of those kids in class I didn't like. I was sitting in the back. I'm not raising my hand at all. But now I really understand that it will do me, more good than damage. So I really want people, when we post something, ask questions, just
challenge
say
us.
Something.
That's one of my
It's not even about challenge. It's just whatever comes to mind. Whatever comes to mind, just let it out. And It could be good, it could be bad. Just let it out. So
Yeah.
we know and make the necessary adjustment, or, you know, if it's a question we have to answer, if it's a way to help, if, you know, anything that could be done in that situation, but at least we're aware of it, you know.
Right.
Your thoughts are only your thoughts. If you don't share it with us, we'll never know. You know?
Or anybody, really.
Right.
I mean, I hope you're at least sharing it with somebody.
Just you and your roommate in your mind there, and and we'll never know.
Who's the roommate?
The voice in your head.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
called it the roommate.
I do. Yeah, but anyway, I want to keep going on this list. I got a couple more things. Habits. We didn't really, you know, talk much about habits, but I think habits is kind of also important in all the stuff that we just mentioned.
In facing obstacles?
Yeah, because if you don't have good habits, you will not know what to, you know, kind of how to go about getting all these things that we just mentioned done. You know, think about it.
I'm thinking about it. I don't know about how habits will, because if you're faced,
And also habits allows you to avoid certain obstacles, because if you have the right habits, you shouldn't
be worried about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I see what you're saying. I mean, you may have an issue, you may have an obstacle that you're faced with when, you know, when doing whatever it is your habit is. But I mean, if it's a habit, you're just gonna do it again tomorrow.
But think about it. Think about this. To be able to go through an obstacle, to overcome an obstacle, to be able to overcome an obstacle, you have to be persistent. You have to be, you know, have that willpower to be able to push through. How do you cultivate those elements? How do you cultivate persistence and willpower? Is through habits. You gotta have good habits to cultivate those elements.
Yeah, I see.
That's kind of how I see it. You know, it plays a big factor there.
Yeah, no, I mean, from that aspect, yes. I just can't really see too much obstacles coming from habits. It's more of like you're gonna do it anyway. So even if it's an obstacle now, is it really an obstacle if you're still gonna do it? Like, an obstacle in my eyes is something that just holds you back, something that you're essentially like you're stuck. Where if it's part of my daily habits, I may be stuck now, but tomorrow I'm just gonna do it again. So does that really mean it was an obstacle?
If you couldn't get it done, it is an obstacle. If you couldn't get it done, it is an obstacle until you overcome it.
Let's put this in perspective.
Until you overcome it.
I'm gonna give you an example. All right, let's say, you know, you're searching for a home.
Yeah.
We're out there fighting with everybody and their baby mama, and my goal is obviously to get you into a home. However, we're faced with an obstacle. What I'm faced with an obstacle was I can't get this guy contracts accepted. However, we go back out there and we go do it again. Is that really an obstacle?
No, it is an obstacle because we initially wanted that house.
Got it.
Right. Because we had a set goal, which was that house. By not arriving to that set goal, by not achieving that set goal, because of 1, 2, 3 factors, it becomes an obstacle. No matter what, you know, the situation is. But it's if you're able to bounce back the way you did, and like, hey, we can go somewhere else and do the same thing. So you overcame the obstacle.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because you found an alternative to the initial plan that you had. You were able to rearrange your plan. You know, you were able to reorganize your plan, and be successful. And that's really what failure is. Failure is
the lack of planning.
It's a way of telling you that your plans were not, you know, good enough. Go ahead and reevaluate them before you continue moving forward.
Yeah.
And I think something that can kind of be a source of all these little, you know, obstacles and challenges that you face could be fear. You know, fear of rejection, fear of how the public will see you, fear of, you know, missing out on something else. You know, and when you're in that situation, the only really element that's going to help you overcome that is the courage.
Yourself.
Having the courage to say, hey, I am aware of this, you know, I'm aware of this fear, but I'm not going to let it stop me. So repetition of courage is another one that's big on my list. because it allows you to then be self-aware that I am strong enough to go through anything I put my mind to. You know, there's nothing that's impossible, as long as I have the willingness to
do it,
to push through and go after it. So once you continuously, you know, remind yourself that I can do it. You know, I'm strong enough. I've, you know, courageous enough to get through anything. Slowly but surely, you will get it done. There's this thing that I read a few weeks ago about the 5-minute rule. It's this guy that he was overweight and wanted to lose weight. He wanted to lose about 100 pounds or so, and but he had tried all sort of diet, all kind of thing, and nothing really worked for him. So, and he came across somebody, and that person said, hey, you know, I may have something that could help you. And he say, it's the 5-minute rule. All you have to do, just for about 2 weeks or so, just go to the gym, and you're not allowed to be there for more than 5 minutes.
You're not allowed.
You're not allowed to be there for more than 5 minutes. So you go in there. If it's like one set, no. But think about. No, just hear me out. Yeah, it may sound like a waste. It sounds crazy. It may sound like a waste, but you go in there. 5 minutes, you get out. 5 minutes, you get out. Every day, 5 minutes, you get out for 2 weeks.
Bro, I would laugh at that.
No, for sure, me too. But here's what you're doing.
I shouldn't laugh at
You're
the person.
building a habit.
Gotcha.
You're building the habit of, you know, in your mind that I can go to the gym. I can do this.
I think anybody.
And
then I'm gonna let you finish.
And then at that point, you can then pick up, you know, how long you want to stay there. But you're slowly building the habit. A house is built one brick at a time, you know. So slowly but surely, you're building that habit of doing something. And the thing about diet, I think, with anything, whether it's food, whether it's any sort of diet, the only diet society need is discipline. I think I'm firm.
Water.
You know, it's discipline. Because if you're disciplined enough to know what you need to put in your system, how you need to treat your body, how you need to do certain things, you will know what's good for you and what's bad for you. It's not, you know, don't try to find the answer in the ingredient and how it's written. It's have the discipline to put the right thing, you know, in your system, or put yourself in the right position. It's discipline.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I would definitely like to see somebody do more than 5 minutes. But I get the concept.
But you get the concept,
yeah,
right?
I think the concept is phenomenal, and I think it's definitely something that anyone can really implement, because it's building that habit. But if it's not in your plan, then, you know, it's still going to be difficult, because, again, if you don't have it in your plan to do it, then are you really going to do it? I think that's truly indeed what it really comes down to. Hey, if you have a commitment to yourself of going to the gym every day, put it somewhere where you know, okay, that's what you have to do, when you have to do it, and you're gonna know what you're going to do at the gym. Yeah. If you just go to the gym and walk in and all right, what am I gonna do today? You're not gonna do anything.
I think that will help. I'm glad you brought that up. Write down what you're going to do when you get to the gym, right? Because 9 times out of 10, sometimes it's just like, I don't want to go because I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, you know the gym is packed on Wednesday because it's leg day. Everybody know I gotta work on my legs, right? Yeah. So I actually do leg day on Friday.
It's smart to leave it towards the end of the week.
And I do because I do cardio before every workout. It kind of like balance out my leg day because it's like 15 minutes of cardio before every workout. Before the day, before it kind of warm up your body. Right now. Yeah, not before every workout because that would be brutal.
No, you'll be there for you'll be there. But I like what you said, the 5 minutes, because I think using that aspect is great. Maybe implementing this as well as a strategy. If you start with 5 minutes, but every day you add a minute, or you add something to it.
But the thing is,
I go in where anything that I'm trying in, I go all in. And I set I go all in, and I set the goal as if this is the goal that's going to stick, even if I don't want to do it. However, you find yourself in that situation where you're like, I don't know about doing it for this long today. I mean, it's most important that you just did it, but it's, you know, at least just, like you said, just building that habit. And that's a great way. Start small and then increase it every time. Really.
Yeah, by small increments. Yeah.
And at that point, you'll make it a habit, and at some point, you're gonna be doing it, and you're like, "Oh man, it's."
But
wow,
here's the thing:
I've been here for a long time.
It's hard to set that. It's very hard to set that as a.
To set what?
As a what you just said, the way you will go about it, because everybody learn at such a different way.
Yeah,
that's you know, so it's like, you know,
find yours.
You have to find your niche and find how, you know, this works for you. How do you learn best? How do you know?
Yeah, I'm hardcore. I know that.
Yeah, so that will work for you and anybody else that may, you know, that learn like that. But yeah,
it's not everybody, and I'm here just to give other strategies of things that I would probably do if I were in that situation. Of how I would kind of go about it. It's like if I found myself having a hard time doing something, I'm just gonna start small, and then add time to it or add something to it to help me make it a habit.
There are some people that won't even be able to do the 5 minutes two to 3 times. So it's like, you know, it might look to you like 5 minutes is. To me, I'm just saying, he's able to do 5 minutes. He was able to do 5 minutes for 2 weeks straight every day, right?
Yeah.
You know. Which really tells him that you can go to the gym every day and get your workout done. That was exactly what, you know, the goal was there, to plant that idea in his mind that, hey, you can get to the gym and get this done. But do you know how hard doing that for 2 weeks could be to certain people? That's what I'm trying to say. It's gonna be certain people won't even be able to do 2 days in a row.
This goes back to what you said earlier.
Yeah.
The plan. What's the goal? Why are you even doing it to begin with?
Right.
Like,
and is it? And do you really? Does it? You know, I spoke about this a while back, where you look at your yes and your no. Your yes has to outweigh your no's. It's like, why am I doing this thing?
Right. No, seriously.
In that situation, it's like, why am I doing this?
And do it for yourself. Don't do it because other people are doing it. That's where you go wrong immediately.
Yeah. Like, you were born by yourself, you're gonna die by yourself. No matter what somebody says, it's not gonna change the way your life moves unless, you know, you let that affect you. You know, so be careful with the choices and decisions that you make these days, because, you know, as the minute you let somebody influence your, you know, the way you go about doing certain things, you have to live with it. They don't.
Yeah.
You have to deal with the repercussion of every single thing that you do. So be careful on the choices that you make. Take take time to reevaluate the choices that you make, the partners that you want to have around you, you know, the food that you want to eat, you know, the type of things that you want to watch, the type of music you want to listen to, because these are things that, you know, create the emotion, create your lifestyle, create, you know, who you become as an individual, you know, and and if you want these things to affect you in a positive way, you will have to make the necessary choices that leads towards a positive lifestyle. But if you want to, you know, let that, you know, affect you in a way where, you know, it's getting you stressed, giving you anxiety, you know, you're worried about certain things that you shouldn't be worried. Those are things that are, you know, affecting your day to day, which are then preventing you to focus and put the energy that you need to put in the task that you need to do, the goals that you need to pursue. So be careful with the choice that you make.
No, seriously. And if something is giving you anxiety, stress, and that sort, just stop doing it. Stop doing it. Or, hey, if you don't want to stop doing it, find something that you're doing within that thing that you hate doing that you enjoy. You don't have to, I kid you not, you don't have to stress yourself out for things that you don't want to do. I mean, some things may be required of you, but find something that you enjoy in it anyway, so that you don't look at things like, oh, I hate doing this. Find something that you enjoy doing. I mean, I don't want to use the gym as an example because we keep talking about the gym. But I like to eat sweets, right? I know it's not good for me. However, I'll find a way to substitute that. So me liking sweets, I just need something that's going to fill me up, because obviously me wanting to eat some sort of sweet, that's because I'm craving it. So what I'll do instead is like, all right, let me have a healthy smoothie or something like that, right? I immediately substitute. I still get the sweetness of it, don't get me wrong, but I substituted it with something else so that I still can get that, whatever my body is desiring at that moment. I still get that, but it's in a way where it's not going to harm me more than it's going to help me at least. But I say all this to say, don't do the things that you don't like doing. Makes no sense. It just doesn't. And if you don't like it, find something to substitute. It's simple. It sounds easier said than done, but it's possible.
There's a lot that could be said about that, because if somebody doesn't have a choice, and have to be, although I'm a strong believer that you always have a choice. You just have to be willing to deal with the circumstances and all the repercussion of your choices. If somebody doesn't have the choice and they're stuck in a situation where they're doing something that they don't want to
do something else.
But
you don't have to.
But you've come across people who are stuck because this is all I do. This is all I know.
Stuck. They chose to be stuck.
Yeah, I know that.
No.
But
you're not stuck. No one's stuck.
But if somebody tells you that, like, hey,
you're not stuck. That's my answer. I'm sorry. You're not stuck. You're choosing to be stuck. You're telling yourself you're stuck.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. But how do you save? I don't want to use save, but how do you help somebody like that?
You're not stuck. They're gonna look at you like, huh? What are you talking?
Exactly.
You're not stuck. You're telling yourself you're stuck. Why now? At that point, it's just analyzing the person. It's just, hey, why do you believe that? Right? Let them understand it themselves. Why are you saying what you're saying? Make it make sense to them. It makes perfect sense to you, but you gotta help the person understand why you're even saying this, because they're gonna look at you like, bro, what are you talking about? I'm stuck. I told you I'm stuck. You're talking crazy right now. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy, and that's perfectly fine. But it's in that situation where somebody's like, yeah, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I hate this. I didn't. Okay, well, why do you hate it? Okay, well, you hate it because of that. So just remove yourself from that. Well, I can't remove myself because of X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, how about you plan to remove yourself from that situation so you can go and do that?
But
it's not. You don't have to do it tomorrow, but you can prepare yourself for it. That's I kid you not. I've seen so many times just lack of preparation in real estate. So it's like, man, I would love to get you into a home tomorrow, but I don't think you're ready. It hurts to say that to somebody, but
this is why I told you to do the thing.
Yeah, no, I know. Don't worry.
Put it together.
It's don't worry. It's gonna come to fruition. Just you gotta let me. I am one person with 24 hours. The same 24 hours you got.
You have the podcast. You can recruit. You can if you need help, you can ask through the podcast. And
that is true. That's when
somebody out there that could be.
People have to engage, so I got to know who it is.
I'm actually looking for. What was the guy that I was looking for? App developer. Yeah.
Developer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for an app developer for a project for one of my partners. Let me know.
Yeah, you better hope the right person hears this.
Yeah, I do not know.
Yeah, you better hope the right person hears this, because oh man, you get the wrong person knocking at your door. Yo, man, I can help. It's gonna be awkward.
Yeah. I am looking for somebody who's gonna put in, the effort and dedication to see this project through. Not somebody that's just gonna do it because, they need to collect, pay some bills. No, I want somebody that can actually be, willing to coachable. I want somebody who's coachable in terms of learning what we're trying to do, and be willing to take on this project and work on this app. But it's more for my partner than it is for me. I just want somebody who's, trustworthy and
that's
reliable.
Enough. That's enough. You said your piece.
Yeah, but anyway, where was I going with this?
I don't know. I really don't know. I do want to say something I think it could help. And you talked about this, your spiel before I go ahead and took over your spiel, but it's how you want to be defined, right? I mean, do you want to be defined as somebody that gave up, or do you want to be defined as somebody that kept going? Someone that said, all right, no, I'm going to do this. Or someone that's just like, I'm out. But yeah.
Yeah. But do not put too much emphasis on how you're going to be defined by others, because that definition is basically what you allowed them to see or have access to. What's important is you want to make sure that what you do is how you would want it to be. and not because so and so will see you in a certain way, or because it's going to impact so and so in this way. You do it because that's what you want to do, and that's the ideas that you want to see through. And if it's with a partner, 9 times out of 10, if you're able to come to an understanding, it's going to get done. But the one thing to remember with this is like, just with like baseball, you're not going to hit every single ball that's thrown at you. You're not going to be successful at every single thing that you do. I think once you kind of register that into your mind, you're at peace.
Yeah,
you're at peace. You know that, hey, I'm going to fail. There's times where, obstacles going to come. Same thing happened, in relationships. We're going to get into an argument. We're going to get into, this. But at the end of the day, because our love is so strong and our foundation is there, that, you can overcome anything together, So, I say that to say, just...
It's your life.
It's your life.
It's your choices.
It's your life.
One thing I would definitely say is don't let the obstacles define it.
Just leveling up, cause I know the life I want. I'm just setting it up. Removing those that's close who try messing it up. Can't wait for champagne toast with the relevant bunch. Like, what's up? Yeah. Like, what you do, homie? What's your vision? How you thinking? How you move, homie? And is you cool, homie? You thinking building, then that's something we could do, homie.